So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you listen to this. This is Matthew Bailey, alongside my critique partner in crime, Ricardo Medina.
Hello, hello, hello.
The incomparable Tracy Hutchings.
Hi.
And of course, CC Lilford.
Coming to you live from the chaos.
Yes. And this is a special, I want to say like a hybrid episode of Retrospect Reviews / BS Beats and Bailey, because we're technically going to start off in the Retrospect Reviews vibe, and then it's going to lead into the traditional BS Beats and Bailey stuff, right? So in this case, we're going to talk about more or less the theme of this episode here is nostalgia, right? So we're going to talk about some oldies and some, well, not so good, but oldies, right? We're going to start off with the Star Wars Halloween, the Star Wars Holiday Special, the infamous, the black sheep.
That thing.
Yeah, that thing. Like Lauryn Hill said back in '98, right? Followed by
the thing.
Yeah, the thing, right? Followed by the recently released Lego Star Wars Holiday Special.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Afterwards, Ricardo, you're going to talk about the Animaniacs revival. Unfortunately, well, the rest of us haven't gotten around to watching the full 13 episode run, but you saw 8 episodes, so that should be enough for us to get an idea of what to expect.
Somebody told me the last few episodes are very, very good. I heard that, so I didn't. I'd imagine I missed some of the best stuff, but I think I could get a general sense and semblance of what it is like through these roughly 2/3 of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And last but not least, a show that I was genuinely excited for, and I was even more excited when, last week times recording here, we got the announcement that this show was going to be aired, Thursday, as in last Thursday. That would be the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion. I'm so glad that this came up, because this was going to be, entirely based off of Star Wars, but I was like, what the hell? Let's talk about this, because the whole world was really waiting to see this, right? So we will close things off with our review on that, right? So just to get a little preamble, just to get the juices flowing and whatnot, a couple things I just want to mention quickly, right? So today, times recording here, that would be the 21st of November. I don't want to make things dated by bringing this up, but I just figure I might as well throw it in one time. Our great Prime Minister, Keith Rowley, decided, and said it kind of plainly, that basically office Christmas parties or Christmas parties as a whole, where we bring in people, so there be more than 10 people involved. And to extent house to house paranging, which I haven't seen in a long while actually. We don't want to say ban, but it's not going to be welcome basically for this year's Christmas festivities. So essentially we just have to stay home and watch virtual concerts of parang bands and watch A Christmas Story for the 10th millionth time, like I will. But the point is, no Christmas parties. Just in my case, no work Christmas, no office Christmas parties. Yeah, so it's like that, CC. That's how it is in sweet old TNT, man.
Oh man.
My thing though is that money, I was just thinking that money that offices would go into having a Christmas appreciation party, they could very well split that and say, hey, how about a little $2 extra into your hand?
Right.
Since you're not going to I'm that guy. I am that guy. But because we and all would have like our office thing and have food and a set of drinks and all that kind of stuff. You know what? You could just put that where it will be most helpful.
Right,
exactly.
Yeah, a little bonus. Yeah, that's
agreed.
Add on the bonus. Yeah.
I
mean, in Trinidad
holiday cheer.
Yeah, in Trinidad, we don't have winter to worry about, so it's not like a complete nightmare disaster. Imagine the Americans going through in some parts at least. Seriously, it's like seriously, why they paying them people money? Yet I don't know. Yeah, Germany, Sweden, all these other places. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. So I can't wait for all the memes to come out next week. Labeling the Prime Minister as Ebenezer Scrooge. Even in his speech, he was saying, don't look at me as Scrooge. We try to get rid of Christmas.
he bought that because by playing that out, saying that like actively out there, people will now think about it a little faster than they would.
Right.
So
That's true. That's
brace
true.
yourself. The memes are coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They're gonna come
Oh,
hard this week.
absolutely.
Right? They're gonna come hard. So, yeah, Ricardo, I know you're a meme man. So, I will be on Facebook. You could be on Twitter. We'll just see what transpires come next week, right?
Right.
And also just to get the great news out of the way, WW84 man, we're going to get. We are
Yes.
going to
Right.
get.
Oh,
Right.
Fingers
God.
crossed. Keeping fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And this is something we just want to talk about briefly, right? So the announcement was made last Wednesday, right? Basically saying that Warner Brothers Studios will be releasing Wonder Woman 1984 theatrically on Christmas Day and on HBO Max same day, right? The
I
thing is that international cinemas are supposed to be getting it. I believe is like a week before. Now
16th or
I went
18th?
upon. I think it's like the around either the 17th or 16th, right? I saw on CC8 that Caribbean Cinemas 8 that is, they plan on putting this out on the 23rd.
Right.
That's the Thursday before Christmas, right? Because no, sorry, that's the Wednesday before Christmas because Christmas
Right.
this year is falling on a Friday, right? I'm not sure about IMAX, but I believe Movietown says that they're gonna put that movie out on Boxing Day. That will be Saturday. Now I don't know how things are gonna play out here. You know what I mean? I don't know if we're gonna get even earlier than those 2 dates. But the question remains now. You know what I mean? Given the circumstances here with COVID-19, is it worth the risk now to go and see this thing on IMAX? Because I would
Right.
love to go and see it there, but I have to wait for like an early review, hear what people say,
Right.
like some
Yeah.
review from Europe or whatever. If it's worth it, and the conditions are good down here, yeah, definitely I'm gonna hit IMAX and watch that. That's like
Right.
before Christmas. If not, I'll have to watch it in my house. But the problem is my family's gonna be home, so that means dog's gonna be barking, and my mom is gonna ask me what's going on and who's that woman and why she dressed so. And everybody's gonna be making noise around me, and even though I might crank the volume up on my laptop even higher and I have a sound bar now, it still
Right.
won't match the experience of watching this thing on IMAX yet. So,
Right.
guys, any thoughts
I
on this
I have
I'll
decision?
wait.
Yeah.
I'm
Go ahead, Claude.
just
Good.
I'm just like we already okay, we already tried this, right?
Right.
Like we earlier in the year we tried releasing Tenet in theaters, didn't work. That's why Wonder Woman got pushed back in the first place.
Right.
We tried doing the dual release thing with Mulan, where it went to some theaters and other things it went straight to streaming with
Right.
that ridiculous paywall, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
Where is this idea that if we kind of hybridize the two, this is going to work out?
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like, it's weird that in this scenario, Disney is the one being patient. Like, after the flop of Mulan, like
Right.
they've announced that none of their big blockbusters are going to have they're not doing any of the big blockbusters on Disney Plus, right?
Right.
Right.
Like they're gonna wait until it's safe and then put them out in theaters because they also know that big blockbusters are going to be the little boost that theaters are going to need when this is all done because all the theaters are hurting right now.
But
Right.
that's see, my thing is I don't get why they keep thinking that they have to put it out as soon as possible now, as it is.
Right.
And my attitude is that look, as I said this when this stuff got ridiculous, and again the last administration, that's good news, right?
I know.
Utterly shut the bed when it came to COVID. I was like, all right, well, at least March, right? And then now the good news where we have, I think at least as of this moment, as far as I know, seem to have two workably decent vaccines seem to be on the pipeline. It's still, that don't mean anything. You're still supposed to take care of yourself even months after that vaccine come out and is distributed.
Right. Exactly.
But I think by say next March is when stuff should get, it could you could probably I think we'll be out of the woods at that point, if anything, right? If
right.
anything.
And
Yeah.
imagine if all the studios wait, bide their time, and then in March to celebrate that we've, celebrate all of this calm, doing everything, staying inside, wearing masks,
Right.
getting the vaccine, getting the second vaccine. Then in March, we've got all these blockbusters, all the major studios in theaters. People can rush back to theaters. theaters can finally make some money and
Yeah.
recover from all of the hurting, because we still have the problem. Like, we still got all those theaters that are hurting from having to release Tenet early and losing money off Tenet.
Right, yeah. What's yeah, and again, look, look, I think they should have just again, last administration, I fin everything up. They could have just give people, like, just a subsidy just to keep them afloat. That is it.
Exactly.
Something simple, not hard. Getting money from one of them weird, people who making money off the stock market for no good reason kind of type.
Yeah.
Right?
They exist.
Whatever, right? Just do that for that. Just to keep them to say, okay, by the time this stuff sorts out, you'll be here just to survive. That is a common sense thing. But I really get this Christmas thing, because it's still thinking as if, is this completely unprecedented, pandemic they have to deal with, and have all these idiots downplaying it still, and that's the problem. It's that they still in this weird mental space of not getting what the weight of what's going on yet. It's shocking, I know, but it's real frustrating to hear this going on. As for Wonder Woman, look, I'm not that excited about this, to tell you the truth. Like,
oh really?
Even without pandemic or whatever, it's like, yeah, no, it's like I like the first Wonder Woman enough. Second one looking good, but nothing to have me. It's not like if Endgame was coming out. They just admit that shit.
Right. Okay.
Right.
They admit. Let's admit. Kind of a dark joke, but a lot more people be dead if Endgame came out in 2020, right? Let's admit that.
Sadness.
Because a bunch of people would be like, "No, boy, we're about to see how they take out Thanos."
I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to theaters.
Exactly. Right. They exactly. So I like Wonder Woman. I'm not too hyped about it. I'm very glad they're bringing it out. Actually, the more tragic news for me is them pushing back WandaVision, because that's what I'm actually hyped to see.
I know.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that. However,
I'm still sad about Eternals. Not even a trailer.
Right.
They keep pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back, and I'm like, I want a trailer. Give me a trailer and I'll be quiet.
Exactly.
Maybe they might drop it for Christmas Day. Who knows? Hollywood is this usually drop a dope trailer for Christmas Day. So,
right.
Yeah.
That's hopefully.
I have been personally like, that has been my one movie, because you remember this was supposed to come out, I think, what was it? Well, it started off as it was going to come out last year, and then it said, no, we will give it its own space, and so Wonder Woman is coming out this year, and then, well, everything that happened. So for me, 1984 is my one true movie that I have legitimately been holding my breath for. If I be really honest with you all, I'm legitimately was looking at how do I, like Rattans, to see if Rattans actually had like 80s inspired jumpsuit, because Rattans will have them. Like, Rattans is a clothing store that's just a little weird. It's a little weird.
It's a little weird.
It's a parallel universe here.
You have this random guy standing up outside a whole day to be like, shop at Rattans. No. Yeah. But the point is that Wonder Woman has been is the one that I am looking for. Wonder Woman did something for me as in 1984 in terms of one trailer came out that was for CCXP, the Brazil Comic Con, and then they did this trailer that came out here for the DC Fandom, and they didn't have to do anything else. I literally, if they never dropped like another trailer, another picture, another whatever, another article, it would have been fine, because this is the one thing that I am looking for. And I'm trying not to be political, so to speak, about it. But whenever I think about films being pushed back and the ridiculousness in terms of what's going to happen in terms of Wonder Woman 1984 and all the other movies that needed to be released or are holding their breath for a little while, I get really annoyed, because, what is going on upstairs in the US has not just affected not just health, but it has totally disseminated the entertainment industry. At least that's how I see it. I love streaming services. I think streaming services are fantastic, but Disney Plus officially was launched in the Caribbean like Friday or Thursday, something along those lines. There are territories there are territories throughout the world where you still get not available in your area. I don't have Spotify because so it's like
I just weep for that. You know how bad I want Spotify, Jared.
Dude, You telling me that in the year of our Lord 2020, I still have to figure out a VPN or do something that may or
Right.
may not I want to admit
Well,
to
No.
see stuff?
again, yeah. You see with this again. You see, the old joke. There's a really good joke going around right now. Socialism. COVID brought socialism to America, right? And the the dark side about all this is you're really getting to see the chicanery playing itself out in terms of like, well, why does a business should be like this and something like, and naive people like me always assume, oh well, we need to do things the most efficient way. Why are there why are there region locking and that kind of stuff? Not realizing that no, it's more to do with
It's all bullshit.
right, right, yeah, it's more to do with I would argue a mix of, if I can't make money off of this, it's not available. A and B, if I can't make money in these little hidden insidious ways that you don't know, and you only notice when you go to these parts of the world or something like that. It's like, wait, what? You gotta pay for this or pay for that?
Yeah.
What? Why?
Yeah.
Well,
And
then they also have the nerve. So like Disney Plus is not available internationally, but
Right.
you will be like, you can bet money that Disney is upset about people pirating it in parts of the world where they don't.
Of course.
right, right,
Of
that's
Or
the
course.
classic,
they
right?
don't have
Classic,
Disney
the
Plus.
classics, yeah, the classic scenario, right? And it's you really don't know the layers upon layers of BS that is going to, like, yeah, it's basically rent seeking, right? It's just a whole culture of rent seeking that going on, right? All these people who really don't deserve to make money off of this stuff, but somehow figure out a way to write the name on a IP, some IP thing somewhere in the I don't know, the rat's nest that is IP law in the United States now. And it's like,
Oh God, don't even get me
if I
started.
can't, if I can't make 5 cents off of the dollar from this bullshit thing that I have no creative input in, but somehow I'm controlling the distribution still,
No,
and it's
like
utterly shocking. It's
Yeah.
utterly
the
shocking.
fact-
The first time I noticed it is with video games, right? It's like, wait,
right.
why does that? And this is back, I don't know, but more than 15 years ago, right? It's like, wait, what? Why does that Xbox car be doing this in this part of the world? I was like, no, well, it's because of blah blah blah. And then you had to get this long, EULA form or whatever it is, and is really the cracks of the system and the exposure of the system happening right now with all of this.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah.
as I said before, to me the big thing is that just wait 3 months. Just wait 3 months.
Just wait. All
Wait
you
3
have
months at
to do.
least. Yeah, wait 3 months at least, because after, again, we'll watch what happens on January 25th. Like this, hopefully that bullshit will sort itself out. Certain people who want to go away forever will go away forever, and
Yeah.
Yes,
then
sir.
we'll hopefully move on, right? But those 2 months, when things hopefully will get off the ground properly, and the people in charge who
Right.
should be at least have a semblance of logic in their head, could start making decisions. We'll see
God,
what
that's
happens.
gonna be nice.
Right.
That's gonna be
Right.
so nice.
Right. It's hey, reason, and giving a shit about the truth.
Reason, logic, rationality.
Yeah.
What are those?
And my attitude is that I just don't understand. Just wait till thing. The two vaccines are reasonably promising. I'm hearing good numbers from that. Again, I haven't been following
Definitely.
this in any depth or anything like that. I hear numbers
One was
like
95.
right. I hear numbers
Okay.
like
Yeah.
90 and 94%, and that sounds like good numbers. I'll bet on those, right? So whatever. That's about it for me with this, because it's like, well, to me, just I still don't get why they couldn't just put everything on digital, and from the start, like, to me, we should have been seeing Black Widow by now, or whatever it is. But them just have to over leverage on this old system again. You're getting to see the old and new clash with each other in very hard ways. And that's it.
Like I for me, like, I don't mind on. So this is my thing. I Christmas morning or sometime in time for my birthday, I can legitimately get up, open up my laptop, and make a set of noise and watch Wonder Woman. But I still feel, and this has nothing to do with logic, but this is just me saying, I still miss I miss the theater. I miss the smell
Oh,
of
no,
that
yeah.
ridiculous IMAX popcorn.
I know.
And when I think of something like, when I think of something like Wonder Woman, the first showing that I see of her, I'm going to see it in that screen, sitting down very far away from most of the humans, and totally, wrapped up and put on 3 masks, and I don't know, I don't care what is required to make sure so that I can get that noise and that sound and that experience,
Yeah.
and then after that I can sit in my bed and watch it like 9,000 times if necessary.
Right.
That's where and it really is a strange thing for me because I like the idea of these streaming services, even though some of them I still can't get. But
Right.
you know, I like it, and I also live for the cinema. So for me, it's like, what is the best possible option that I can live with and not be Christopher Nolan? You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh my
Right.
God.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whom I love. Let's just put that out
I
there.
was
But, you
so
know.
Yeah, me too, me too.
I was so disgusted with his pull up the ladder attitude.
Right. That's true.
Like this man was making so much noise about how we need to preserve theater going experience and like talking about how the government should bail out movie theaters. And then the minute his movie gets a theatrical release that he apparently was pushing for very hard, he stopped talking about it instantly. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, there's a bad. I thought it was an incredibly bad look for him, all things considered. And is again my last point in it. We could move on again. You know, we talking about nostalgia and the clashing of the old and new. This is the clashing of the old and new.
Yeah.
Indeed. I'll say that's my last point is that I just don't understand why it is that people couldn't just give the new a chance and just take the L. Right? I don't understand why people just couldn't take the L on this one. All of the big movies here just come out and streaming. Disney say, look, we can't do it this way. Sorry. You know, Black Widow, we sorry. Boom. If you want to release stuff later, maybe if you want to, that's fine. But
kind of reunion tours, like
whatever, right? Exactly. So they could have put it out in streaming and then say, all right, you know, we'll put this out when everything clear up. We put this out and thing. The person who gonna at my last point, the person who gonna flourish off of all of this is my boy James Cameron, because anyone knows when Avatar 2 is coming out.
Nope. Just keep putting up a couple of pics online, but
yeah, is that the most perfect timing for that film? Holy shit, right? This man is like, wow.
Wait. My God, you're right.
Yeah,
I didn't even think of that.
Like, absolutely call when he should drop his shit, you know. Like, because it's not about predicting the future or knowing something nobody else knows. It's just having a semblance of how to read timing and people. And this man just has such a great intuition of that. And like, wow. And then on top of that, people gonna be like, well, you know, this is the first big movie coming out after a pandemic. I haven't seen a film in a long time. Perfect timing. That shit. I was doubting that shit because of the pandemic. I was doubting that shit working under normal circumstances, but because of the pandemic, now I expect that movie to make a ton of cash. Right?
God, you're right.
Much like a certain thing I don't want to talk about. I thought it would have gone one way, and because of the pandemic, it went the other way. I don't want to talk about that other shit, but I'm glad it went that other way, right? So it's that. Yeah, that's the last point on it. It's like, just have a sense and just read the room. That's my problem with a lot of this. I don't understand these people who are supposed to be smarter than me. I'm not saying that you're not smarter than me, but you don't seem to be smarter than the world. Learn to read the room, put stuff out. People will watch it and talk about it and move on anyway. You don't need to put it in theaters. You don't need to put it in theaters. It's too much of a risk.
At the end of the day, it's a business, right? So you would think that they should be able to think, like, I don't know, at least 2 steps ahead. Like, okay, this thing isn't working. All right, this is what we need to do now. And then we can recoup afterwards. They're like, we need this movie to be in theaters. And I'm just saying this because as much as I would love to see Wonder Woman 84 in theaters, at the same time, you're posing this huge risk because a ton of people are going to rush in, you know me, with the Diana costumes on. And then, God forbid, you know, go into 2021 with COVID, you know?
You know, I tell people, look, if you're coming to a cosplay as the Golden Eagle armor sealed off, like that shit.
That is it. Oh
my
God.
Anyway, this is my last take on that whole thing.
Yeah.
There should be a John Travolta should have like a reunion tour of like the boy in the plastic bubble, and everyone can cosplay for that, and they could like show up.
Right. Or this movie Jake Gyllenhaal, Bubble Boy.
Yeah, Bubble Boy.
Oh wow. There's a movie I haven't thought about in a while.
Or Frank with Magneto.
Right, yeah.
I'll tell you, like this episode is just all about nostalgia. But we keep our ears to the ground and our eyes on Facebook and whatnot to see how things progress.
Yeah, how
right?
it all goes.
Yeah. Anywho, now to get
speaking
to
of train wrecks.
Yeah, speaking of train wrecks.
Oh God.
Let's talk about Star Wars Holiday Special, right? Like I said before, this is going to be the traditional retrospect review. I'm not going to torture you guys for too long, so I'm going to move as fast as I can, right? But quick intro to this, right? So I didn't even know that the special existed till like about I can't remember. I think it was like probably in the 2000s or whatnot before
Right.
42nd prequel came out, right? Attack of the Clones. I was hearing this thing about this holiday special, this infamous holiday special, right?
Right.
By the time I didn't, well, I mean, like I wasn't that big on YouTube, so I didn't like go up to see if this thing existed or went on Wikipedia and whatnot. So I was just like, okay, that's just a thing, you know what I mean, whatever. And then like over the years, I started to learn about the film existence and how many fans hated it now. When we did our collab, that will be me, Ricardo, and CC with our first Star Wars special. That was for the Force Awakens. We mentioned all the other films prior to and we talked about. Well, you mentioned holiday special, and I believe I
And the
brought up this
Ewok
paraphrasing here. Yeah, that I just never bothered to watch it because I saw clips of it, I saw images, and it just looked like the worst. It's almost like the bargain basement 70s psychedelic sci-fi films, you know what I mean? The ones that people kind of laugh at. Like, like you think we were kind of done with stuff like Zardoz and, Logan's Run, and it was like that approach applied to something as over the top and big budget and epic as Star Wars. So I was like, no, I don't want to touch that with a with a 5 foot foot pole now. And then, well, with the release of the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, I was like, oh, okay, so they had to, yeah, this is the franchise basically.
Oh man!
But I was curious to see how they were gonna reference this particular movie. Cause yeah, this is actually a movie, yeah. So yeah, I sucked it up. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, so you know that one time. I know every single big Star Wars fan suffered through this already. I was like, all right,
rite of passage.
Exactly, right of
It-
passage. So I was like, YOLO, went in, watched this, and just getting this out to the way, guys. This is one of the worst experiences like ever. This is like one of the most painful experiences ever. And what got me, right? Well, at this point, you guys share all the individual thoughts and then before I run through the story.
Yeah.
Is that, like I said before, it just feels like the worst aspects of circa 70s psychedelic sci-fi thrown into this film. And it makes it even more, it makes it look cheap. It makes it unnecessarily bizarre. And just from a storytelling perspective, a narrative perspective, even just just in terms of enjoyment, there's nothing in this. There's this absolutely nothing, and I'm just baffled as to how this was even greenlit in the first place. I know you'll have to go and research everything involving George Lucas and his famous speech quote where he says, if I could find every copy of this, I will smash it with a sledgehammer. But yeah, boy, I was just in utter disbelief at how this movie even exists. But yes, thoughts on the Star Wars Halloween special.
So what the horror. So I have been aware because here's the thing. I am a Star Wars fan, a big Star Wars fan, but more than a Star Wars fan, I am also like a big bad movie aficionado, right? Like one of the things that got me into cinema.
There's a place in the world for bad movies, but good bad movies, right? There's a difference.
Here's the thing. It's like because what got me into cinema in the first place was like bad movies at Mystery Science Theater 3000, and when you run in those circles, the Star Wars Holiday Special is
definitely comes up. Yeah,
infamous.
It's top tier.
It's a rite of passage. Like when you talk about really bad movies, there's kind of like there's a list of like endurance test movies, like certain episodes of MST3K. Birdemic.
Right.
Like they're the movies that
Plan 9 from Outer Space. That's one.
Right. There's like you get to wear them like little badges. Like they're like little Cub Scout medals basically that you get to be like, I made it through the holiday special. Damn. Your endurance is high. And like what I love about you mentioned that you said it was like the worst of 70s psychedelic sci-fi. I actually disagree. I think it's the worst of 70s variety show television.
Right.
You're right.
More than psychedelic horror. I mean, horror, but like sci-fi.
Right.
But because like rewatching this, because I have actually seen it multiple times at this point, right? Because like
Why?
it's hysterical. It's so like I laugh my ass off every time I watch this thing. Like especially, it's one of those things that's especially fun to show to people who haven't seen it and have no idea. Because we all forget this now because the internet exists.
Right.
But up until the internet, the Star Wars Holiday Special had this strangely mythic status, where kind of like Roger Corman's Fantastic Four.
Oh my God!
It didn't exist officially, and the only way you could see it was go to conventions, and you'd get a VHS tape that someone copied. Because again, we don't know where the masters are. We don't know who has the master tapes. I think they're locked in a vault at Lucasfilm, guarded by stormtroopers or Palpatine's Red Guard. But like, so the only versions that exist is this really, I mean, the one I really want to watch, there's an extended version which includes all the commercial breaks, including all the dated toy commercials and everything that I really want to see, because it's got
that aired on CBS at the time.
Exactly, because like one of my favorite parts is the Incredible Hulk and Wonder Woman will not be screening at their normal times this week.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I feel, talking about nostalgia, it's like, the 70s television.
So this, as how I just think about this special is that it's again old versus new. This is what happens if stuff didn't work out for George Lucas, because it came out right after the first film. None of the law of the franchise was ever settled. Think about it. It's before Empire.
Yeah.
Right.
So none of the law. Exactly. Right. It's none of the grand law stuff is settled. So you could have it had a bunch of weird shit that you could have do and get away with, and nobody would have been wiser or care, at the time. And then if it doesn't work out, you get to sweep it on the rug of history. And
because one of the things is that Lucas has, and Disney's kind of done this too, has done such a meticulous job of preserving the mythology of Star Wars. Right. Like Lucas, one of the things that happened was for the Ewok movies, they wanted to have the stars of the Ewoks movies take part in this McDonald's or Burger King commercial and have them walk off the set and walk into a Burger King. But Lucas shut that down because he didn't want audiences associating the Star Wars characters with like Burger King or Pampers or whatever. But the thing about the holiday special is that it's so dated, and it has, and we'll get into this when we talk about it, but it's speckled with all of these, very dated pop culture references and guest appearances that ground it so heavily in the pop culture that even though bad movie aficionados love the holiday special and laugh themselves silly, Star Wars fans hate it because it breaks the mythology so badly. Like, it breaks the mythology so very badly. One thing I am curious about is I know, because I've always been intrigued by the holiday special. Have any of you seen the trailer for A Disturbance in the Force?
No. I've never.
So this, I'll send the link. But basically, there's a documentary coming out about the making of the holiday special.
Okay.
Oh, well done.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Is it coming out this year by chance?
I don't know. All I know is I saw the link going around, which was the original trailer. And again, they interviewed anyone involved they could find. They walked through the creative process and what it was like working for Fox Television and this assignment and all the production troubles, and then of course also go into the the post-release where, it gets shut down and they're told they're never going to air it again, but then it develops this weird life. It's a very interesting trailer, and since I've always found the special so mysterious, I really want to watch this doc.
Right.
It's really interesting. Looks really interesting.
Right. Tracy, your history with the horror show.
So here's the hilarity for me, because but before that, I will say this. CC, in terms of that Roger comic, Fantastic Four, I have a memory of sitting down in one of my old offices. I think it was around the time the second iteration of Fantastic Four was coming out, or somewhere around there. And a friend of mine, who is a bigger nerd than I am, had copy somehow. I don't know where he had it, but we all sat down in the office and watched that version
Oh,
of
no.
Fantastic Four. I don't know how he sourced it, but anyhow. So, and so that's a whole other memory of itself. I think of the Christmas special in a weird way, the same way how I feel about Rubber. Uh, in terms of,
the
I don't
infamous,
know.
sorry, the cult classic, Rubber.
The cult classic. It really is because I don't know. Should I be drinking and watching this? What exactly
Exactly.
is the deal? Now my heights with the holiday special is like it's impacted on me and a great deal of Star Wars fans in a strange way where like on somebody's birthday or something like that we will still say Happy Life Day. But Life Day, you know, I've done that. I have a couple of friends who like that. They'll just be like, Happy Life Day. And that's a whole scene. But the idea of Life Day in terms of what the old holiday special was, it really was. I mean, it's frightening. One, two. It kind of has um, that 70s Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy cheesiness kind of vibe that I
Oh,
don't,
man.
I don't, you know. And there's certain parts of it. Like I'll be honest, I did a rewatch, and there's certain parts of it that's like, what in the name of Black Mirror is this? And I'm specifically thinking of the Diane Carroll segment. And it's like, what
We
is
go
that?
we could talk about that. We could talk about that.
Exactly.
We
So
absolutely do.
so for
Wow.
me, it's like when I look at that, I feel like it's something. It really is something that if you call yourself a Star Wars fan or if you want to get involved with Star Wars, you really should. It's like it's one of those things that you don't necessarily think about when you offer Star Wars to people. You say, okay, you start with 1, 2, 3, and then you can do this, that, but you don't really talk about the holiday special. But if you do get somebody to like sit down and maybe clamp them down and be like, we are watching the holiday special.
Right.
That is that is legitimately how I feel. And what really, like I would listen to some of the cast later on. Anthony Daniels, said in a video something along the lines of "Watch it and you will die." That kind of real ominous, The Ring kind of sensibility because no one wants to talk about this. But and I could be wrong. This is the one redeeming thing, and I feel like I could be wrong, but I do remember that okay, like within the extended universe, the books and stuff, there's stuff in there that may have gotten a little bit more life based on the special. So like the idea of Chewbacca's family and some of the stuff that will eventually happen to them, like in some of the extended universe books and that kind of stuff. I sometimes wonder if that was like if that holiday special sort of maybe was a seed to sort of extend and expand and say, okay, this is how it could be redeemed, but the actual special of itself. And I have seen that one because YouTube is a gem. There is that one with all the commercials, and at the end of it, they say that Bill Bixby's The Incredible Hulk will return next week. So that is a height unto itself.
I
But
need to
yes,
look for that version though. I really
I
do.
will find it and I will send it to you because oh
Me
my
too.
God.
Please.
Please.
I will watch it again. I watch.
It really is something.
I'll get drunk and watch it again and wait for those commercials.
So yeah, that in a nutshell is me. It's why am I watching this, but also okay, I am watching this, and that's where I stand on it.
Right. Last but not least, Ricardo, your history with the
Yes.
Star Wars horror picture show.
Right. Yeah. For me, it was one of those things I kind of caught pretty late. I saw this when, boy, probably for the first time in 2007, where I think it's one of those internet jokes things. You saw like somebody making fun of it on Dig or Reddit or something like that. Or I think probably like if you remember Attack of the Show, remember that show? Them making fun of
Yeah,
it.
big show back in the days.
Right, something like that. And I was like, all right, let me finally like snuff this out and see if I could find it. And yeah, I end up taking it in and then seeing its utter failings and why it doesn't work. And yeah, as I said, it's pretty early. It's done. Most of the mythos, as we understand Star Wars, hasn't been formed yet. Remember, this is before Empire. It's because remember, didn't Luke beat, Darth Vader beat Luke's father wasn't a thing or nothing like that. So you could see like all of the weird ideas and all of the bullshit that could come true coming into something and jumping onto something that's a moneymaker. And then Lucas himself, you're not sure how he feels about the material or not. And it is a really interesting time capsule from that standpoint. That's how I kind of just always thought about it. It's one of those things because you like CC, you mentioned variety hour stuff. Yeah, that was the stuff that commanded the 70s. That was like,
oh yeah,
you get all of these C-list celebrities, sometimes even B-list celebrities coming onto your show. You have to do this, that, the other. Like, hey, I kind of recognize this guy from somewhere. And that as you mentioned, all the cameos and all the weird stuff. That's how it is. And they just decide, all right, what we're gonna do to push people into a space to say, all right, we can make something that don't mix again old and newer. We have the old way of making money and popularizing a franchise as opposed to the absolute blockbuster paradigm shift that Star Wars created. Right? Let's admit it. Star Wars started something very interesting and special when it comes to franchising. And Lucas, and I would argue, Lucas didn't strike the iron right when it was hot. Well, I should say the iron wasn't hot yet, but he still struck with this film. So it was just a sad clang. And that's basically what this was. It was it's just the world wasn't really ready for Star Wars yet, not just ready, and he decided to just put out this thing as an attempt to put it to make sense of anything, and then it just ended up being this horrible disaster because nobody had any sense of what was going on. And that's how I always felt about it. It was one of these things that is an interesting failure. I'll admit, because I keep reiterating I'm not a big Star Wars fan, so I wasn't invested in whether or not this was good or not. It's like, okay, I could see why this would be popular because of Star Wars as a film at the time, and again, it was on CBS. It's not like people had to go to theaters for it or anything like that. It was like, because it's not like something that started off pretty badly and then ended up turning out good, which was like something like the Clone Wars, right? Remember the Clone Wars movie?
Right.
So it's like that. That's how I kind of think of the whole thing. Is that it's this thing that you're trying out, and it's an abject failure when it first starts. But if you give it a chance to go on, it could go on to become a great thing. And that's basically what it was, is that Star Wars ended up becoming this mega hit, and Lucas kind of didn't know what to do with it at the time. This is about a year later, right? That's what it was.
Roughly a year later.
I forgot.
Yeah, exactly.
It came out November 17th, 1978, which is funny because the new special, also came out this year, November 17th. So
that's by design.
November 17th is officially Life Day, so that's Life Day on Kashyyyk. So.
Right.
That's canon now, everybody.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Okay.
That was intentional. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't have any big like emotional thing about this because again, not that big of a Star Wars fan. Kind of just looked at it as this interesting novelty for what it was. It's still really bad. If I was to look at it from that historical standpoint, I'd be like, yeah, what the hell is this? This wasting time with nonsense. But yeah, it is pretty bad.
It's really bad.
Yeah,
I've seen Samurai Cop. This is really bad.
Yeah. The one thing that was noticeable is to see a young Beata there, because I know Beata. I know Beata from
Girls.
Golden Girls, right? Exactly. Mm-hmm. So to see her a lot longer, and I at the time I didn't know that she was in a show called Maud, right? That was the show she was in.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
What? So I was like, hey, Beata looking so strange in this, and look, Beata was like a big comedy person at the time. She was like hilarious to a lot of people apparently. At the time she was a big comedy person. So I get what they're trying to go for, and they're trying to punch it up and make it look, but the whole thing is just such a mess. And as a Christmas special, I could imagine somebody like trying to have it make sense and trying to tap into that energy. And it's interesting how that is not the direction you should be going with Star Wars at all. But we could only see that in hindsight. But it's really fascinating in that sense. Anyway, that's just my last take out it because I don't want to talk about.
We need to get into
it. Yeah. So I'm gonna move quick with this one, right? So brace yourselves.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
so
sure.
Both you, Tracy, and Ricardo brought up Christmas, right? Because the thing for me going in for the first time is that I thought that, okay, of course we're not gonna see Christmas in a galaxy far, far away, But at least with this thing Life Day, right? This invented holiday, at least they're gonna bring it up in the show, right? But they don't up until a particular point, but we'll get to that point in a bit, right? So basically, the film begins with stock footage from the last movie, right? For the first movie, basically, with the Millennium Falcon being chased by enemy starships, right? I love how you'll see that footage, and then it will cut to footage of Han and Chewie inside the Falcon, and it's clearly it's clearly they use TV cameras. So you
Mm-hmm.
see
Right.
that specific film
Mm-hmm.
stock that
Yeah.
Mm.
They
just
had like
pales in
one
comparison
day.
to the look of dailies basically from the old movie. Sorry, well,
Oh
deleted scenes from the
man,
movie. It just looks so jarred, right? But that's
it's
part
so
of what makes it
bad.
funny to it. It really looks hilarious, right?
Like
But it's yeah.
like folks, if you watch the holiday special for any reason, I just watch it so you can see how far television has come in 50 years.
Yeah, for
I
real.
know, right?
Oh
There's a truth there.
Lord.
Wow. It just
Because
looks
like
so dated, man.
it really looks like they only had the Millennium Falcon cockpit set for like
Right.
a day or a few hours and
Right.
shot it with the TV cameras and then added the stock footage from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is so like and like and it's clear because like there's like a couple scenes throughout the special and it'll cut back to them in the cockpit to remind you that they're there. But even those scenes, it's kind of clear, mainly from Harrison Ford, that um okay, yeah, all the principal cast have very different coping mechanisms for how they got through filming this. Oh my lord. We'll get remind me when we get to Carrie Fisher. There's a story about that. But there's a
Well,
story.
I can't wait, right? But yeah, so essentially the plot, as you may assume, centers on Han promising Chewie that he's gonna, that they're gonna get home because, well, we're gonna be introduced to Chewie's family in a minute, right? But yeah,
Right.
today's Life Day. I'm gonna get you home, man. So hold on, man, while we avoid these guys, right?
Mm.
And then they do the hyperdrive thing, and then you get, oh my god, back to late 70s variety shows, TV shows, right? It's the Star Wars Holiday Special, and then they do
Oh,
that
look
Right.
at
that
the
really out of timing,
it's
outdated 60s/70s Irish shots. You see all the faces of everyone, and
Yeah.
oh my god, Mark Hamill though. It's only afterwards I realized that apparently he was in some kind of accent, so he had to do
Yes. Right.
facial
Mm-hmm.
reconstructive surgery. But my
Mm-hmm.
god, the man's face looks like he's a Ken doll come to life. Like,
Yeah.
what?
meanwhile
What? Look at
Carrie
the
Fisher,
guy's face.
meanwhile,
Like,
meanwhile, Carrie Fisher has this dreamy look that she has throughout the entire special. Because fun fact, Carrie Fisher, may she rest in peace, did not
all right.
remember filming the holiday special.
Right. Well.
She was
Yeah.
high out
Because.
of her
Yeah.
mind the
Yep.
entire
Oh, that
Big
explains
drug.
it.
Yeah. It was
That
the 70s and the early 80s.
like,
Leading into the 80s. So yeah, a
yeah,
lot of
and,
drugs.
like if you the stylistic clash is already like if the opening with like the stock footage versus the cockpit footage wasn't bad enough, like you were saying, Matthew, it's the Star Wars theme, like dun, 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 and like that music, and then just as it gets to the swell, then the voice cuts in. The Star Wars Holiday Special featuring Mark Hamill,
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher, Harrison
R2D2 as
Ford.
And yeah, and
R2D2.
that's such a variety of a thing to do, eh?
It is. And then
Yeah.
and I love and introducing and I need to do this bit because oh my god, like introducing Chewbacca's family, his
Oh
wife
my god,
Mala,
Lumpy!
his father
Dude.
Itchy,
Oh
his
man.
The
son
father's no,
Lumpy.
the father's face, like the first time you see that
What
face,
is up with that
you're like,
jaw?
what the hell is that? You know what it reminded me of? You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the alien human hybrid from the end of Alien Resurrection. It has the same jaw, that same kind of protruding jaw.
I,
It looks horrible.
It's so bad.
the
And his
thing with
name's Itchy. No, like his name, like who
Itchy and
named his
Lumpy, and I can't remember the wife's name, but Itchy and
Um,
Lumpy,
Mala
right?
is her name.
Okay. Because I love how we have this great canon of Wookiee names. You have Chewbacca, you have Tarful, King of the Wookiees from Revenge of the
Yeah.
Sith, you have Mala, and then apparently Itchy and Lumpy.
Yeah.
Itchy and lumpy.
Well, it does beg the question: is it like Itchubacan or something like that, and everybody just calls him Itchy for short? Is it Lumpabacan, and it's just because I can't remember that. Oh my god!
Oh, I know there's some EU explanation for like
Yes.
what their names are and that they're
Yeah.
just names, but just taking it at face value, the information we're given is that Chewbacca's father's name is Itchy.
Yeah.
And that's hilarious.
Nah, it is.
Oh.
So just when you thought it was a good idea, to just have this 5 minute scene of Chewie's family, right? Well, okay, so yeah, clearly somebody thought it was a good idea, basically, to just have this 5 minute scene with Chewie's family, right? Which includes nothing but Wookiee calls, yells, and grunts, and
No subtitles, no one speaking English. Also, the
Yeah.
Wookiee sound effects are so strange. Like his
It is
father,
so.
his father is clearly like some kind of buffalo thing because it's like.
He goes like,
But then
yeah.
Lumpy sounds like a goddamn engine.
Like, what? And it just keeps going. And this is one thing about these segments. They just keep going. There's no sign of them stopping. Though.
Oh,
And they're
guys,
like,
it's Lumpawaro. That's his full name.
Real.
okay.
Oh.
Yeah, but talking about Lumpy though, like the voice for Lumpy sounds literally like he's just like taking a shit and he's just trying to force it out. It's like "Urgh, urgh, urgh." No, it is horrible. No, it's terrible.
Well,
It's
part of the
hard
thing
to
is
sit.
because
It's
you
hard to sit.
don't because you don't understand what any of them are saying. You don't know what's going on. You're just kind of watching them.
But
Like,
you can
okay,
see the action, and you can.
Yeah,
you see the
exactly. To the
action, like,
movie's
and
credit,
okay, and
to the
like on
film's
my
credit. Oh, sorry. Go finish.
well, like, and I'm on my fourth viewing, and like I get the broad strokes. Like Lumpy is playing with his toy. He
Right.
irritates Itchy. Mala tries to get him to do chores or something, and he doesn't want to because he wants to play with his X-wing. Blah blah blah. But like, it is borderline incoherent since there's no way to really follow what's going on.
Exactly. And because it just keeps going and going, you're like, all right, there's a point to this. We don't know, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so out of the blue, Chewie's dad just decided to put on this tape recorder. Like, swear to God, it's a tape recorder, right? And then we get this like really bizarre, like Cirque du Soleil virtual reality
Oh,
performance
God.
thing,
The
which
dance.
also just goes on for too long. And
Oh,
the
that's
music is
so.
bizarre. The costume is bizarre, sorry. And like literally, it feels like something out of a 70s like psychedelic sci-fi flick show. It
That's
just
like
really does.
pure Logan's Run
Right.
or
Yeah,
Fahrenheit
Logan's Run.
451. It's like pure. Oh, like you're just sitting there like that was. I watched this with my partner. I got them to watch this because I needed to rewatch it for the show.
Right.
They had a lot of
How,
regret.
how could you put him through that? Why?
They asked similar questions, but that was the moment when the circus started. That was the moment when they stopped, stared at the screen, and then like slowly looked at me with this expression of "What the fuck? What the fuck is going on?"
Oh my god!
And I
dude.
couldn't give them an explanation. I couldn't say. I couldn't say. Well, this is happening. I was like, you know what?
You know what it is? It's when you watch like 70s music videos, for whatever better way of putting it, that kind of the
Are we gonna
outfits
talk
and the
about
setup.
70s music videos in a
Yeah.
little while? But
Oh my
continue.
god. Yeah, no, but that's the kind of vibe that I always take away from it when I see that particular sequence. It's like it's weird and you're not sure how the costumes fit into anything and it's just there, but it's part and parcel of the process. That's how I view 70s music videos and that's what I get out of it.
Right. Yeah, so afterwards, Chewie's parents, so essentially what's going on at home, because this is on the Wookiee planet, right? They're all waiting for Chewie to return because they can't start life day, their festivities without him, right? So,
Right.
so the parents basically have this Skype call. Yes, I know it's a video chat, but whatever, right? We got to call it Skype, right? So they call Luke, who is like you see him basically doing some repairs with R2D2, and then you really see Mark Hamill's face, and you're like, God damn, what happened? Why do you look like a Ken doll, right? What is going on? And he's like, oh, you know, it's gonna be okay. Come on, Marlon, give me a smile. Like,
Oh, God.
and
Horror.
Yeah.
That is the creepiest. I mean, we're gonna get to the creepiest moment in a little bit, but that is one of the creepiest. It's like, come on, Mala, give me that smile, and then we keep cutting back and forth between.
I wonder if your creepy moment is mine. We'll talk about that later.
But like, we keep cutting back and forth between creepy Ken doll Luke trying to coach creepy kind of because the problem with the Wookiee costumes, it reminds me of Beneath the Planet of the Apes,
Right.
where they don't have enough ape costumes for
To
good
go
ape
around.
costumes for everyone. So some of the actors have these like pull over ape masks with kind of dead eyes. The problem with these Wookiee masks is that they're not state of the art.
They just went cheap with the whole thing.
We are a long way away from the Jim Henson Creature Shop alien effects of Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
These are like, so they've got these really kind of dead eye looks sometimes, especially when they hold a particular expression for too long. So we have Dead Eye Mala and Ken-faced Luke cutting back and forth, and I'm just like, this needs to end. This needs to end, like, now.
Yeah, I mean, it's even worse because Luke's expression is just so weird. Like, you know, he's smiling, but it just looks so artificial. Like, you know, he's just screaming internally. You know. Right. So afterwards, though, we introduced to. Well, okay. So I'm forgetting this guy's name. So essentially, he's a friend of, you know, the Wookiee family, right? He's played by Art Carney, right? He owns this this more or less this trading post, basically. And then afterwards, this Imperial soldier, whatever, shows up and, you know, think they did, right? But he gets a call too, and he's like, well, you know, no, he doesn't know what's going on, but he's gonna pass by later on, right? So remember that he's gonna pass by later on.
Yeah.
And then out of the blue, we just get this deleted scene with Darth Vader. And he's talking about how we're gonna find the rebels, even if it means going into every household.
Yeah.
And it cuts the commercial break at that moment, and I'm like, all right, I know for sure this is gonna be the only time you'll see Darth Vader, but there's no need for Darth Vader to be in this show. Like, why though? Especially if we go with the fact that this came after A New Hope. So why is he there? I don't know. Anyway, so then we get go on.
Man. We then followed it up with one of my favorite segments, which is when Mala decides to start preparing the Life Day food.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And so she's preparing bantha steak, and this is the first of the. And so she's watching a Star Wars universe cooking.
The chef.
Yeah,
the chef, dude.
Also played by Harvey Korman, by the way.
Harvey Korman, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you at home, Harvey Korman, notable and recurrent Mel Brooks collaborator, is in the holiday special. Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Yep.
And in this segment, he's playing a 4-armed alien, and it is an alien female, so he is performing in drag as a 4-armed alien chef lady, and it's funny,
like Julia Childs meets Star Wars, but oh god.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting here like, who was this segment for? This wasn't for the kids. Like, the kids aren't going to be watching this and be like, oh yeah, it's the cooking segment. Like, stir whip. It's like, whatever. It's like...
as a bring up stir whip, there's something almost hypnotic about that stir whip.
Well, what I find so creepy...
And I was honestly thinking, how come a rapper never really, like, used that? Because, you know, whip, because whip is, you know, part of, like, you know, hip-hop lexicon. So it's like, what I was saying, well, stir whip, I was like, yeah, you know, you could make some coke rap out of that.
What I find so funny is that Harvey Korman is definitely very committed to this bit, and so it's like doing this whole welcome to the show, I am Chef Commander, and like whatever, and so we go stir whip, stir, come on, stir whip, and what I love is that like he gets more and more into it. His wig kind of comes
those strands of hair and
he's like flying wildly, and like his whole tone is getting more like out of control. It's cutting back and forth to like the editing and the holiday special is fucking genius. And because it's also cutting to Mala trying to keep up frantically. It's like, stir, whip, come on, cooking is fun, stir, whip.
Mm-hmm.
I will say Mala's expression to it is kind of how I feel when I have to follow a recipe. It's like there's a sense of anxiety and what is this? I can't deal with this. That is me.
Yeah, I just love how that scene ends with literally Mala turning off the TV as the cook is done. No, see you next time for another episode of. No, she just
Nope.
turns it off. So she finished cooking.
And
He
the
is
thing
over
is,
it.
again, this was before the hologram stuff, so they had a television. Like it's all these weird, yeah, it's all of that.
They don't communicate by, I don't know. It's
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Now, just to get back to Han's story, right? Now, if the story was just centered on Han just trying to get home, right? Or if it was just the primary cast with Chewie, of course, just trying to get to the Wookiee planet for in time for Life Day.
Mhm.
That would have been a brilliant premise. Have it be a half hour, have it be a contained story. If you want to, you could kind of squeeze in that bit, although I wouldn't recommend it. And that's a special right there. So in other words, which is technically what the new version did, you give us a Star Wars adventure, but you keep it sort of lighthearted and fun because it's a Christmas show, right? A Christmas special, sorry. But no, you give us all these segments because
comedy
you know,
variety
I guess, yeah.
70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reasons.
We
So
needed
go on.
we need the thinnest excuse possible to shoehorn in as many acts and variety. Like, here's the thing that I love rewatching it. The excuses they come up with to incorporate the gratuitous cameos and the different acts and musical numbers are some of the thinnest I have ever seen.
Mhm.
Like some of the excuses they come up with, some of the in special reasons to shoehorn in these acts are ridiculously flimsy, and they slow everything down to a grinding halt, especially since most of them happen after the plot, quote unquote, really gets going in later, and it slows everything down because things are supposed to be at their most tense, but we keep stopping for these different segments. And so everyone's just kind of awkward. And so, and because they keep reminding us that there is still the plot going on, awkwardly, basically everyone's just kind of awkwardly standing around waiting for the segments to be over. Like we, the audience, are sitting here awkwardly waiting for the segments to be over.
Yeah.
To get on with it.
I would imagine, if families were watching this, there'd be moments where the kids will literally run outside and play, and then come back to check to see, is the segment done? Okay, back to the show, and sit back down. That's how it's designed. Sorry, that's just how it is. Which leads me now to probably one of the most jaw-dropping moments of this show.
No.
I did not see this coming a mile away. So for the moment they said, with special guest Diane Carroll.
No.
I was like, okay.
Oh, let's have that conversation.
We going to get a musical performance. Okay. It's a Christmas special. All right.
Oh, let's do that.
Okay. Let's see we play it out. But it's the setup though that I still can't believe. So the trading post owner basically shows up at the house, right? He's dropping off gifts and whatnot. He gives Lumpy this not a recorder, this communication device basically, and he gives the dad a mind evaporator. I think that's what it's called, right?
Oh, God.
Okay, some device he will use it at some point in time. We don't need to see it, but the show decided, hey, let's actually show him using it, right? He puts it on, and then you get this 70s music video aesthetic, think I Want to Rock With You from Michael Jackson. Think backgrounds for that with the lights and the the surrealistic lighting
of the budget.
Right. And Diane Carroll in the middle of it.
But because Michael Jackson had access to pretty state of the art cameras and production design, lighting people.
Yeah.
No.
Even though the video is 78 or 79, I think. It's still a dope video. It's very
It really
you
is.
know, leading up to the 80s style of, you know, film, you know,
It's
music video film.
smooth. It's sexy. It's cool. It's brilliant. This, on the other hand, apparently 20th Century, because this is 20th Century Fox's at the time television division that was
Right.
responsible for this nightmare, and apparently they just didn't have the money for that, so it's so cheap looking, and the kaleidoscope effects are so weird.
It
And
is.
like,
But that whole the between the kaleidoscope and well the intro of that, this is gonna sound a little weird,
Go
so
ahead.
forgive me in advance. But I remember seeing these tiny versions of her moving on. It's like, why does this look like sperm? It's like
I know, right?
it was just weird.
It's frightening, though. It's frightening.
And then the face in the face.
it doesn't help that she's doing this whole "I am your fantasy."
Oh my god!
We are excited, aren't we?
I
They're
feel
like, wait. This is TVG, TVMA. Who is this for?
It's a little. It slightly reminds me of this shit the Dune. Remember the Dune movie, the
oh
opening?
god,
Remember that?
the Lynch movie.
The Lynch, right? The Lynch Dune movie.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, note to self. I need to watch that movie since when again the remake for
Right,
Oh, right.
this
Right.
for
Yeah, well,
Christmas
that's
happened.
another movie.
Oh, well,
that didn't bring
yeah.
out. Yeah. Well. Anyway, yeah. Go ahead.
Well,
Yeah,
yourself that if you want.
but as I say,
I swore myself never again. Never again.
but yeah, though the setup. So in a nutshell, guys, what it literally is the father literally looking at VR porn.
Yeah,
That's
That's
what it is.
effectively.
That's what it is.
That is the
And I'm
effective.
there
what
like,
is
wait, but
going on.
Star Wars,
Yeah, good
family
stuff.
show,
Yeah.
TVG, I
and
assume.
somebody
Michael-
had fun.
TVY7.
No, Michael
What
Jordan.
one's having this?
Yeah,
And
Michael
even
Jordan.
tell me, oh, well, it's not VR port. So why is Dan Carroll,
Yeah.
you know, no, I mean, she dressed well and all that. I mean, it's very, you know, late 70s disco way and whatnot, right? But why is she
Right.
talking in this sensual AI way?
Yeah,
Like,
it weird.
just
Yeah.
relax, you know what I
It's
mean?
just watching the father's expressions and the reversing of when she speaks it.
Yeah.
That's the
Editing
thing
is
that makes
weird.
it so bad.
Although that
Can't help but think it is VR porn.
that may not be a coincidence because it might they probably just get an actual porn editor or something. I'm sure that.
I call that the Black Mirror part of it because there's like, okay, well, it has that kind of I wouldn't say full Black Mirror, but there's something about it that was freaking me out, and it's like Black Mirror.
Yeah, it's the illusion of technology. Like, technology can feel
It's like-
better, but it's a trap, man. I don't know.
Because the Diane Carroll intro and musical number is weird and psychedelic and kind of unsettling. It has, again, like Lynch's Dune, it's got that thing where like the character looks straight at the camera into your soul and narrates in this kind of dreamy way, and that's bad enough. But as if the special doesn't want us to forget Itchy, it keeps cutting to Itchy sitting in his chair watching, like, just to remind us, hey, this is not just a segment. This is a thing that this character in particular is watching, and that horrible mouth of his keeps opening as he's like grunting in pleasure. Watching this thing. Like, I'm like, no.
Sweet Lord.
Let
Yeah.
me forget. Let me forget about Itchy for one moment. Ah, no. It's like, please.
My God.
Oh my god.
The editing, like, I will maintain that one of the greatest strengths, and by strengths I mean unintentional moments of comedy of the entire special, is how brilliant the editing throughout is. Like the editing throughout the special is so bad, and it makes so many things worse than they were going to be already. Like,
Yeah.
just juxtaposition of images.
Yeah, but just when I thought the scene couldn't get any worse, and I'll stop here. She sings, and I have no problem with Diane Carroll singing, right? I mean, she's a great singer, right? But the song itself is this whole cliche, you know what I mean? This cliche, oh well, you know what I mean? You and me, we can't be together, blah blah blah, that kind of vibe, that kind of thing. And then you think, okay, it's just a song, whatever. And then the show have the audacity to throw all these like cheap visual effects, especially near the end where they just kind of lose this shit and just have her literally dissolve into white. And I'm like, what? Like, kids supposed to sit down and watch this and enjoy this? Am I supposed to get hyped to this? Like,
Yeah, rough.
Yeah.
What?
What are the kids supposed to be doing while this segment happens?
Yeah.
We're watching Chewie's granddad watch musical porn. What are the kids doing right now?
Hey,
Writers?
it's literally fun for the entire family. So,
I know. So for that one relative who always stuck in his room, you know what I mean, for no reason, wink wink. Yeah, this is the segment for him, right? So later on though, right? So a couple of stormtroopers show up. Actually, a few stormtroopers come through with a general and the same Imperial Guard soldier guy from the trading post shop, right? So basically they come because they're looking for Chewie, right? So they make it a sweep of the entire house, right?
Yeah.
This sweep, by the way, it feels like it takes like a whole half hour.
It
Cause
does.
they just moving slow for no reason, right? But now just when you told the Dan Carroll section was bad enough. Then no,
Oh, no.
the no the well one of the soldiers basically finds this briefcase thing that the trading post guy has, right? He pulls it up. There's a computer in it. It's like, oh, what's this thing about? And then he sets it up now, and then we get another virtual reality performance. This time from the legendary rock band Jefferson Starship,
Yeah.
who of course should be in this show because Starship.
Jefferson Starship.
And yes,
Good.
for all you viewers at home, Jefferson Starship is Jefferson Airplane, like
Right.
White Rabbit Jefferson
Right.
Airplane.
They sang
Yeah,
Miracles
it's
as
called
well, right?
rebranding. It's called rebranding people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
apparently what happened was Jefferson Starship was what they renamed the band after they lost one of the bassists and one of the guitarists, and then they
Okay. Right.
like kind of rebranded for the 80s, so Jefferson Airplane for the 70s, now they're Jefferson Starship for the 80s, right? So, and like their whole thing is like psychedelic and like harder rock and that kind of thing. I have no idea. Do you think any of these, this is the thing I'm curious about with the doc, and I sent you all the trailer for that, but the thing I'm curious about with the doc, do you think any of these groups had any idea what they were doing these performances for?
No.
They would have
No,
to.
no, no, no.
Like,
Not necessarily.
Do you think Diane Carroll had any idea what her segment was going to be for, or what Jefferson Star? Like, do they know the context for their performances before they like?
I doubt it.
Probably
And,
not.
yeah,
No, because
and
it's
go on.
super easy to no, but it's super easy to sign your name and you're not sure what it is you're signing your name to. I mean, this is happening with like actual actual scientists and people who they'll talk about something and then they voice like I don't know if you follow this guy online, a guy called Dan Olson. He has this great little thing about how like actual physicists and serious people got themselves into this pseudoscientific documentary because the people just bullshit them. Like I can imagine that stuff. Yeah, I can imagine that stuff happens all the time in Hollywood. Like, oh, well,
The
my voice on
agents.
something. Therefore,
Yeah.
it's stuff like that.
And
Right.
like, and I feel like a big thing is definitely that like, Star Wars has just come out and it's this big
Right.
deal.
Exactly.
And like, hey, you want a piece of that Star Wars pie? Fox
Right.
Television is doing a Star Wars thing and they want you to perform for it.
Yeah, that's
Even
how to
though
be vague about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. Like, and then like only afterwards when they sit around with the family. Like, I'm just imagining Diane Carroll. I'm just imagining Diane Carroll watching her segment in context and just like, oh god, I'm just like watching between her fingers and like, oh god.
Yeah.
Her relatives is probably like just shit she up on a regular basis when that comes up.
No, but
Like,
no, it's
Happy Life Day.
yeah, no, it's one of those things. Again, it's one of those things that I can imagine it's one of those things that they just hear Star Wars. Hey, I want to be part of that, or even they didn't even know what it is necessarily, but the agent want to be part of it, and they just sign them up. Yeah, that's it.
Like we're gonna get into the B. Arthur segment later, but in the trailer for A Disturbance in the Force, they have a clip because they actually interviewed B. Arthur for that documentary, apparently, and she had not seen Star Wars. She had no idea what that Star Wars was and what all the fuss was about when she signed up to do the special.
Right.
Maybe she thought it was a TV show.
It's like, yeah, Fox is like, hey, we're doing a TV show. It's going to be on CBS prime time. It's
exactly. That's all they need to know.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, whatever. And then, like, she gets there on set and she's surrounded by, like, all of those extras dressed up as aliens. Is like, what the fuck did I sign up for?
Right.
Yeah. Right. So just to conclude about Jefferson's Starship, right? So here's the thing, like these songs, right? Up to this point, you're thinking, okay, are they going to have something to do with Life Day / Christmas? But they don't, right? Like I say, Diane Carroll's song is about, love and how unrequited love and whatnot. This one is cliche, sci-fi space stuff. You could take me higher. He came from the stars. Will you like the sky on fire? Blah, blah, blah. And it just keeps going and going. And they have like this sort of pinkish purple tint that they use throughout, to make it feel all psychedelic, man, because late 70s, man. And I'm there like, who is this for? Who is this for? Right? And the best part about this sequence, guys, is that everything stops. So listen,
Yeah.
So is the random suite going on during this 5-minute performance, or does it stop?
We keep cutting to the Imperial officer just kind of sitting at the table watching the performance because again, they won't let.
Oh, I love how he's like tapping his finger to it.
Like again, they won't let you just enjoy the performance. They have to remind you that the plot is still going on.
I mean, to be fair, the rebels did light the sky on fire when they destroyed the Death Star. So maybe it was a hidden, covert, some kind of something that was going on there. That's a thought.
Oh, okay, like a song of rebellion. Yes, we took down the Empire.
Yeah.
By this, like,
take me higher than the diamonds,
I just love the implication that there is, in fact, like we've had subtle hints of it throughout Star Wars. I think Clone Wars in particular hints at this, but there is definitely pop music within Star Wars. Like in the world of Star Wars, there is a music industry. There are bands. There are radio stations that broadcast music intergalactically. Star Wars has pop music.
I give you Jedi Rocks as a random thing. Jedi Rocks, which is at the end of Return of the Jedi, which I will not sing now because that's not happening. But yes, to your pop music, yeah, Jedi Rocks.
Or even like what's the one that Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote for
Shav Cover or something.
That one actually slaps.
Because I have that one on my phone as well. So yeah,
it slaps so hard.
It's Cover, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So after this much needed musical performance, we get an animated film, and I'm there like, this is something like, this reminds me of at this point? Sesame Street.
Yeah.
You have a base story that opens the show, but that's not what the show is going to be about for the next 50 minutes.
Yeah.
We're always going to break it up with random segments about numbers and letters. And then we're going to get back to the story ever so often. And then at the very end, we will kind of tie it back to, it was brought to you by this number, this letter. Mm-hmm. That's how this show really felt like I'm watching Sesame Street, But really is when the animated, segment hit. That's when it hit me. So just to talk briefly about the animation stuff, right? So it's funny that Lumpy, right? So remember, Lumpy is Chewie's son, right?
Yeah.
Is watching this random animated short, which features his dad.
Yeah, they didn't.
So is this like what? Is this like Logan, for example, where Logan exists and the X-Men comics exists, but he's a character in the comics? Is this what we're going on here?
Rebel propaganda.
I don't know, but whatever.
Well, yeah, because there is a moment briefly when like. It's the one moment of tension in the middle of him watching the short. The officer's like, "What are you watching?" Dun 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 dun. And we cut to an ad break, and then after the ad break, he just like I don't know, clicks on another tab, and it's like educational. Okay, good. And walks away. We go back to the short. Like it's.
Which makes no sense. I mean, they're not gonna care. Look. Please come on your host. They're not gonna care if you're on your phone or you have your tab watching YouTube. They're not gonna care. They have a job to do. But anyway, right? The thing about this animation that struck me, right, is how it feels sort of like, okay, so they're gonna pull a little old school film here. It looks like Wizards in a sense, like
it
that
does.
late 70s Ralph Bakshi kind of vibe. So the characters are kind of distorted. The backgrounds are very desolate, very deserty based and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Goddamn, Han Solo's face.
Oh, the stretchy face.
What? What? What?
Oh
What?
man,
What?
it's even
It
wilder.
looks like
Yeah, go.
some weird caricature, but like it looked like an evolved caricature of Harrison Ford.
Well, like it's wild because most people this is a mind blower. Most fans agree that this segment is the highlight of the special. Some fans actually go on a limb and say that it's actually good. And
Be-
there are fun
Mhm.
fact. There is a special collector's edition of New Hope that I think it's on Blu-ray that includes this short as one of the special features without the rest of the
Okay.
holiday special. Just the short. Because
In
what also happened was the team that made it then made two short because this was done by Nelvana Limited, right?
Mhm.
And
Who, by
they
the way, will go on to make Ace Ventura, Pet Detective,
but you know
which
what
is
they
one of my favorite TV shows of the 90s. As dumb as it was,
oh yeah.
I kind
That
of
was just
love
great.
that.
It was great.
They also but here's the thing, because the short was actually the high point of the special, it actually like they actually followed it up with the Ewoks show and the Droids show, which were both animated Star Wars shows from the 80s that only lasted a season. And both of them are in the Droids in particular is in the same animation style. Ewoks looks more kind of like generic 80s animated cartoon, but
Saban.
Droids is an entire series done in the same style and follows the adventures of R2D2 and C3PO as they just kind of go on the galaxy having all kinds of random adventures. And it's in the same style as the short. And and this is the bit that blows my mind. Both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni love this short.
But
Okay,
here,
maybe it's because of because I mean, like we could rip the animation style to shreds, but there's something kind of unique about it. Though. It's something that you
It's
can kind of
weird. It's very weird.
watch. You know, what I mean? Like I say, it feels like you're watching Wizards or
Yeah.
some old 70s, early 80s cult animated film. You know,
Like that's why the weapon that Boba Fett uses in this short is the same one that the Mandalorian uses in the Mandalorian. Like that same sword, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way,
This-
this is the
You're right, Fuller.
first time we
this
ever
is it.
see
Mhm.
Boba Fett in anything, right?
Yeah.
That blew my mind literally.
And that
Yeah.
is one of the redeeming factors. And then there is that limited edition toy, which you can't get, for anything. With that two-pronged, whatever the hell that is, that
Gun.
he uses. Right. And it had, because I remember seeing this in Toys That Made Us, that torpedo that he has there, that little torpedo thing, they did a limited run with that as well, but that turned out to be something of a choking hazard. So, that was discontinued.
And it's also hilarious to me that for all the hype Boba Fett as a character gets, he has more lines and more to do in this one little short in the holiday special than he gets in the entire original trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know, right? Yeah.
That's so hilarious.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, yes, this is actually the most intriguing segment in this show. There's another one that comes up in a bit, right? You'll probably know what I'm talking about. Right. So then we get so back to Chewie's son now. So now he's back in his room and it's this MIDI transmitter. That's the name of it, the MIDI transmitter, right?
Oh,
And
boy.
then for some godforsaken reason, get a we get an instructional video on how to set up a MIDI transmitter, starring none other than Harvey Korman.
I
And
just
he's
want
playing
the
this
page
sort of
to end.
glitchy Android. So this is like pre-Max Headroom now. So he's doing the thing, but it just looks so ridiculous. It doesn't even have the kind of 80s style as well Max Headroom did, right? It's just cheap camera tricks basically. Well, cheap editing tricks basically. And like all the other scenes before, it just goes nowhere.
It's
What is
so
it?
boring. Like
No,
for
the
me,
movie stops dead
for
in its tracks
me,
for this. Huh?
for me, this is the absolute low point of the special. Because at least the bit with Itchy is funny, bad, and like creepy. At least and then the animated special is intriguing. But this is an instructional video with an unfunny comedy bit, and you're just sitting there like, this needs to stop. It just keeps going on and on.
Yeah, it does, it does. And then we get what is, in my opinion, the second, I don't want to say best, I would say most intriguing segment, which caught me completely by surprise. Um Life on Tatooine, which is a propaganda piece, a propaganda series, from the from the Empire, showing how life is in this perfectly controlled world, you know what I mean, where the Empire rules over everyone, right? And then we go to the same cantina from A New Hope, right?
Yeah.
And we are introduced to the bartender, who's played by Beata, right?
In all her sarcastic glory.
Yes, yes, yes. And she, to me, delivers the best performance in the whole movie, which isn't saying much. I know, but she does, right?
She's so done. Like, here's the thing about her that makes this so funny. She's basically the straight man in this, because like she's running this alien bar on an alien planet, and she is like, it doesn't matter if she's like giving drinks to like a Tal's alien or like some guy with its brain on top of its head or whatever. Her ability
he has this volcano for head, so
right,
he's
and
pouring liquid into his head, which is
and Harvey Korman yet again.
Harvey Korman, plays him. I believe they were twins too. They were twins. They were doing the same thing, which was kind of weird, but because the twins were hitting on her. Essentially, what it is just that you take it is one of Harvey Korman's characters hitting on Beatrice's character, but then you realize, no, there's a twin nearby who's doing the same thing, and you're like, what? Okay, anyway, go on.
Oh God. But like, and she, like, her ability to just keep her entire performance like deadpan and calm, no matter what is happening in the scene, and no matter what bizarre alien she's dealing with, and to just have this whole sense of just being done. Like, she's just like she's already done. She's firing on all cylinders with like witty comebacks. Like, there are some moments where she legit gets laughs out of me at this bit, just from like her performance and her delivery and her like witty comebacks. It's so funny. It's legitimately great and funny.
Yeah. And I'll admit, the song that she does, which, yes, they use the same sort of swing jazz song that they use from the cantina scene. You know what it is. Right. How they incorporated into this song here, I thought that was cool. It was like, all right, I see what you're doing here.
Like,
I mean,
it's
the same band, so that's what they play. So let's do a take of this, but this with a slower tempo. All right, you're doing your thing. But the song that she sings here, this idea, because what happens basically is that, the bar is on lockdown, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, well, all right, well, this is the last call. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like a poignant kind of farewell song, basically. But it's just like, yeah, just have one more drink and let's just have fun, man. You know what I mean? So I dug that. I dug, especially her delivery. It's really great. It's clear. It's hands down the best song in this movie here, right? So back to the Wookiees' home now. Yeah. So Chewie's son now, right? Lumpy, right? I keep forgetting his name. Sends out this distress signal to the Millennium Falcon. A stormtrooper picks up on this, and you take it, okay, he's gonna like blast his kid. Like, I legit was worried. He lets the kid run out of his room, down the flight of steps, and outside now, right? So he's following, right? And then, do Ex Machina time. Both Chewie and Han show up just in nick of time. Han ends up Han ends up distracting the soldier, the stormtrooper, sorry. He trips on a log, swear to God, and falls, and they hear the Wilhelm scream, "Ah!" And I'm like, they really had the balls to use that for this specific moment. Come on, right? And then everything's back to normal, right? So Chewie's back. He reunites his family, and then we get this painfully awkward scene involving and this like hugging the family and whatnot. He gives Chewie this really awkward hug. I could tell just right off the bat, just throughout this whole thing, Harrison Ford didn't want to be there. He was just there for like 2 days. just
Not even
paid
a
him. It's
little
like,
bit.
let's just do this. I love how the show kind of sounds that. You see, I need to get back to the Falcon because I don't want to get, I don't want the Soul Troopers or whatnot to find it there. So he can only just stick around with these guys for like a few minutes. I was just like, yes, painfully apparent. Yes, he does not want to be in the show. He does there for a
No,
paycheck. Just let him go.
not even like this is the moment. Like I know that Harrison Ford, of all the movies he has been in, all the franchises he's been involved in, Star Wars is definitely one of the ones he is less than excited about, even from the word get go. I swear to God, watching him, I see the moment in his eyes when he's like, I want to ask George to kill me off in the next movie. I swear to God. I swear to God, in the middle of all the awkward Wookiee hugs and wishing them a happy life day, I see this moment in his eyes where it's like, well, I'm going to go ask George to kill me off. I'm out.
Can we talk about Mala and Han for that minute there? What is that? What is that? What was that? Was that
Yeah, that
love?
sort of
Was that lust? What is
stare down that
happening
they
there?
do. What is that? What is that?
I just, I can't. I
Yeah.
can't. Yeah.
Anyway,
Plot
go on,
twist,
go on. Sorry to cut you. Go on.
plot twist. Han Solo is Lumpy's dad.
That I would not doubt. I
I wouldn't doubt that neither,
would
to be
not doubt
honest.
that.
In this world of Star Wars, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. Yeah, so the family reunites, and yes, it's every bit as bizarre as you would expect a Wookiee reunion to play out. And then they begin the Life Day ceremony at long last, right? With each member of the family basically holding up this, well, technically it's a snow globe, but for interest, we're gonna call this glowing. No, well, there's not really a glowing orb. It's this glass orb, but there's like a light emanating from the top of it. And then all of a sudden we get what looked to be like the Wookiee equivalent to the intro to Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody music video. Is this the real world? Is this just fantasy? And
I
all four of them just like together. I'm like, this is Bohemian Rhapsody, gentlemen.
I
Look.
have not. I have never watched this movie with any kind of like bad movie person who hasn't, when it gets to that bit, sung out. I see a little silhouette of a man, Scaramouche, Scaramouche, you
Do the
little
countdown,
fandango.
go.
Oh, I just hit myself in the mic. Just sorry. Wow, no, that scene just comes out of
And then
nowhere,
they're
Jen.
walking in the sky among the stars to a
Just
glowing
picture
orb, and they're
lights.
wearing red robes. And what is happening? How many
Oh,
were
So,
I just,
so
I
involved?
just, I just when things couldn't get any worse, right? So now all the Wookiees now are in this sort of like, Planet of the Apes-esque like looking chamber, this underground chamber.
mhm, mhm.
And then this literally creeped me out, right? All of them start grunting. So when that happened, it was like, all of
Okay.
them.
Dude, it's a
To me,
cult.
this was like the equivalent of like you remember The Exorcist, that moment with the sound of bees and how disorienting that was.
Oh boy.
That's the equivalent to that
Do
in
you
this movie.
remember in Revenge of the Sith when we're on the Wookiee homeworld and they're
Yeah.
going into battle and they all stand and roar in unison
Yes.
and it's
Right.
made so well and it's balanced and you hear all these different Wookiee roars and all mixed together in this chorus of battle. This isn't that.
Mm-mm.
this
Nah,
isn't.
it's not.
Mm-mm.
This is
It
not that.
sounds like torture. Like this is the kind of shit that they will play at Guantanamo Bay
It's
to get
it's
you to just
also
speak. You know what I mean?
it's also hilarious to watch Revenge of the Sith, watch all the badass Wookiee warriors, and in the back of my head, I'm like, they all dressed up in red robes to celebrate Life Day in a few years. So like,
Yeah.
Plot
Yeah,
twist.
that's what you do once a year, right?
Here's my thing though. Rewatching it, it dawns on me that maybe the person or persons who came up with the idea of the Snuggie may have actually gotten their idea from Chewie's family in those red robes. Because if you
Oh
watch that
god.
red robes and you think about the Snuggie, it legitimately looks like the same pack of ass.
It does, yeah.
It's very cultish though. It's very
Yeah.
cultish.
No,
very cool.
really, really, swear to God it is, right? So later on now, for some unexplained reason now, we see C3PO and R2D2 there, and they talk about, oh, well, if we were, Wookiees or humans, what I mean, we could relate to what it is you're enjoying, but, what? Nobody asks you your opinion, bro. Come on. And then, and then, and then Leah, Luke,
singing.
and Han show up, right?
Oh,
Talking about,
God.
yes, we're glad that we're here to celebrate Life Day with you guys, right? And
Leia
then, oh my God, Leah. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher, but Leah, boy. She does
did
this,
not
like, really
hear.
cliched monologue about, power of love overpowering darkness. And then she talk about the tree of life. I was like, oh, this is where Terrence Malick got the idea for his movie, right? And then, guys, and this is the moment I dreaded, because I knew
Oh,
about this prior to watching this. Then Leah does the song, the Life Day song.
Day to
And
celebrate, yes.
yeah, and I mean, like I say, I love Carrie Fisher to death dread, but that song is just horrible. It is painful.
oh,
I
really?
will give the
Oh.
music a little credit. I do appreciate how they take John Williams' Star Wars theme and work it into the song, but they do it in this real saccharine way now. But I mean, it works, right? Because that's what they're going for. You know what I mean? It's all about, swelling the heart and all that kind of stuff, right? But the song is bad. And Leah's face is like, I'm just high out of my mind and I'm just doing this
Yeah.
because peace and love, man.
When she
And then
was
they just do
when
these
she
these
was
slow dissolves to Han, who really doesn't want to be there, and Chewie, who
Kendall.
does who I mean the actor probably sweat inside that suit, and it just goes on and it's just
And
so
on.
saccharine
Like
and it's
when
disgusting.
Carrie Fisher said that she did not remember filming the holiday special, I was like, yeah, I didn't have a doubt in my mind. I not a shred of doubt in my mind when I looked at when I think back to the song and I'm like, nope, yep, absolutely. I don't think I was at this point. I'm more surprised when people do remember filming the holiday special more than anything else at this point. Like, but then my favorite part of this madness is after the song, we then have this weird, like David Lynch editing moment where we cut to like Chewbacca's. Remember what I was saying about the Wookiee masks? This is the bit at its worst. Dead-eyed Chewbacca staring into space, slow fade to some generic footage of scenes from New Hope, and then
Yes. And you hear I forgot the name of the song. The as called it the medal receiving song.
Throne room.
like
The
it's
right, the throne room music that they play near the end of the movie. They're like, okay, what is this, like a tribute to Chewbacca? Is this
like,
oh well, this is
I
the
remember
path that he's going through and the adventures that he went through, and this is where he's at now. But dog, that was over the course of a movie, though. It plays out literally like you're watching the series finale of a TV show, and you're getting the best of moments.
except the rest of except whatever episodes he's having a flashback to are way better than the one we're watching. Oh no!
It's so high.
Yeah,
And
go on.
then after that we cut to the family, the Wookiee family, all sitting around the table, holding hands over some kind of prayer because it was the 70s, and credits.
Yes, and I was like, yes, this movie is over. The torture is over. I am so happy. I don't even care what the TV announcers saying about some upcoming show. I could care less. The movie is done.
And the TV announcer is just reassuring us that
Next week,
Incredible Hulk and Wonder Woman will play at the regularly scheduled time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, thank God. I'm craving for the slow nothing of Bill Bixby's Hulk right now. Oh, good Lord.
Yes. So, in closing, guys, right? Yeah, as you know, like it took me a long while to get to this. But I am glad that I suffered through this, right? I'm glad. I really do appreciate it maybe one day I'll watch it over, like, like UCC. I'll show a friend of mine it, and you just kind of watch my cut to like, dude, why do? You know what I
CC
mean?
is a
Like, it's
better
one of
man
those
than I
shows.
am.
It's one of those shows. Yeah, you just have to kind of suffer through it and then show it to your friends so they could suffer too, and they'll just hate you just a little bit more, right? But yeah, this is one. This is hands on one of the worst movies I've ever seen. One of the worst TV specials ever. One of the worst Christmas movies ever made. And let's touch on Christmas beef quickly. Even if the show doesn't want to address Christmas or show it in any way, at least if it's about life, they stick to that theme now. Not have performers come and sing random songs which have nothing to do about life day. Why we have to wait? Why Carrie Fisher has to be the only one to sing about life day in this really saccharine way, right? The show couldn't even commit to what the holiday that's in the title. Like, think about that, right? Um, but this is one that I'm glad that I saw because I don't
Yeah.
need to see it ever again. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
unless I show it to people. But
But
yeah,
the,
you know what I mean. This is like, as Ricardo say, like a fascinating time capsule. Now, you know what I mean? Like,
It is.
this is what late 70s TV shows
Yeah.
played out as. But as a Star Wars show, I mean, yeah, this deserves to be on YouTube. This does not need to see. This does not need to be released on home media anytime soon, unless it's just part of some documentary, criticizing it, right?
But the
So,
thing is, if I could just very quickly, the thing that
ah,
I about this though is that because it's in the Star Wars universe, there's always ways, especially now with things like Mandalorian, there are ways to that it finds itself creeping back, and that's how more people are going to eventually find this. So like
Right.
John and the rest of the directors, they always like there's this documentary for Disney Plus, the Disney Gallery, and in it they talk about getting like some of the lesser known characters in the background and all that kind of stuff. So you find now you might actually see a creature or a character that is in there that might have had like one line or one space within the holiday special. Now people are going to see that and be like, because reasons, they're going to see that and want to know who this is. Go back to the holiday special. The holiday special now gets more life. It's a weird thing that even though we try to stump it out and act like it doesn't exist, I for one try
Yeah.
to act like it doesn't exist. Um, it's still getting more people pulled back into it, and it's still getting continuing a life of its own
It
because
is.
of where it is.
yeah.
For me,
Just when you
Yeah,
thought it was
yeah.
out, it pulls
Every
you back in, right?
Exactly.
any big like franchise fandom type thing always does that, right? Somebody will make some deep cut, and everybody
Yeah.
need to know what the deep cut is, and
Yeah.
you
Right.
get all your social woofy points for something like that. And look, dudes like Dave Filoni and John Favreau, well, will do that. They'll do some shit like that because they're super deep cut nerd fans. So sorry to say you're not gonna get away from the because of Star Wars being so all encompassing and because of the nature of the internet and the cottage industry of
It's
everybody.
not going
the-
away.
yeah, because of the cottage industry of internet fandom and having to write, this article or that article about here's 10 things you saw in the background in Mandalorian last week. That bullshit.
Yes. Oh
Right?
my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So it's that.
Like
Yeah.
for me, it's I kind of love, like, I know some early internet people when like the internet happened were predicting that the holiday, because like obviously the holiday special thrived as a as this weird cult artifact in the pre-internet days, when it was handed
Yeah.
around on cassette tapes at conventions. And people predicted that as the internet became more of a thing and it kind of lost that mythic status, it might just like fade into obscurity. But
Right.
no,
The
the
opposite
opposite
happened.
has been true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's as Tracy was saying, like, you're getting all these little acknowledgments and all these little references to it. To date, the animated FET segment is the only piece of this that's ever been officially released because it's available on, and I'm looking at this now, the 2011 Star Wars Complete Saga Blu-ray set
Oh my
includes
God.
includes that
Nice.
cartoon as like a little Easter egg. So for me, and like it's infamous. People still have their tapes. There's a couple versions up on YouTube, and someone in the YouTube comments was like, neither Disney nor Lucasfilm was going to take this down because that would mean admitting that they owned it. And at this point, I'm like, you know what? just lean into it. You know what? Like, the documentary is coming out. Why not just give it an official release? You know that somewhere at Fox or somewhere at Lucasfilm, they have the original masters. They could give this, like, they could actually release this properly, and you could get, like imagine, like, a Star Wars holiday special home video release, right? Where it's like you could watch the remastered version, the original extended version with all the commercials. You can have interviews with people like Filoni and Favreau talking about it or whatever, and just talk about like how weird it is. Hell, I would throw on, because I know Riff Tracks, the MST3K guys' new show. They did, and it's really hysterical. They did their own like commentary track for the holiday special, and like I'm like lean into that, like throw that on there too. Like come on, like rather than trying to like bury this and pretend it doesn't exist, especially since like we all know it exists now. Now that we have the internet, we all like anyone can go on Wikipedia or IMDb. And fun fact, if you go on B. Arthur's IMDb, this is one of the top things listed, which is
nice.
Which is like up there. Golden Girls, Maude, the Star Wars Holiday Special. It's like right there. Like rather than like now that like Star Wars does thrive on its like self-seriousness and like its mythic status, and we're gonna get into this with the Lego special a little bit, but I think that like it doesn't hurt to make it more widely available and like actually get to like show this for all it's like there's kind of an honesty, I think, to releasing it officially. I think because it's actually acknowledging the extent. It's like the Ewok movies are available on DVD. The Ewok and Droids cartoon shows are available on DVD. Like, come on, why not we got the Gendy Tartakovsky animated series. We got the Clone Wars. We got all the movies. We got the Disney era, the prequels. Why not the holiday special? Like, come on.
Yeah, totally agree. But rated wise, just to get it out of the way, this gets a 1 out of 5. Of course, it sucked. But yeah, you know what I mean? If you're curious, I mean, give it a look. If you're just looking to get shit fees for Christmas and you're just wonder what's up the Star Wars beast, yeah, man, give this a look, man. But I will say, just to make a little dumb segue now into the next show, it would help though if you watch this show right afterwards. That will be the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yep.
Right. So I was made aware of this special when the trailer came out a few months ago, right? And I mean, I was like, all right, cool. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Lego movie. I actually own that on Blu-ray. I mean, I appreciate the Lego movie too, although it wasn't as good as the first one. Lego Batman movie had me in stitches, but honestly never got back to watching that, right? But I mean, I'm familiar with Lego because grew up on Lego, right? So Lego, Star Wars, Christmas, so it adds in nostalgia because I mean, I was a person who used to get Legos for Christmas, right? I don't know if it's the same thing for you guys, but that's how it was with me, right? But yeah, what really intrigued me with this one here is that it follows right after, Rise of Skywalker, which me, Ricardo, and CC reviewed last year, and we didn't really like it that much.
I'm not over it.
We pretty much
I'm in the
that
minority, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. So I was curious to see how they were going to treat this special, like how they're going to follow up the story. I mean, I didn't expect some grand story, but just being able to tell this fun story that for once actually sticks to a Christmas-like theme. But then also to seeing how they were going to improve on the errors of the original Star Wars special. So, Ricardo, if you don't mind, just a quick run through of what this special is about.
Yeah, so it's a kind of follow up to the whole Star Wars paradigm. Yeah, it gets into the Lego version of what Rise of Skywalker did. Rey's teaching Finn to be a Jedi effectively, but kind of not really doing a good job at it. And she gets access to a cave for something that only is open on Life Day, because she wants to do something for Finn and make sure she teaches him properly and well. And then everybody else, all the main cast, they are preparing for Life Day and prepping for Life Day. And that's effectively the beginning. And then she gets into the she gets a device that allows her to, well, effectively time travel, which we see in Clone Wars, I think,
No,
or Rebels.
Rebels.
Rebels, right.
Rebels.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
that same, yeah, apparently that is when they brought in time travel in the Star Wars universe. So they decided to make fun of this premise, and then they just take all these paradigms of, well, what if this is this, and who if this character clashes with that character, out of the time, what will happen? And it's basically that they just get a chance to make all these jokes and whatever it is, and it builds from there. Yeah, so I think we can just start from that setup.
Yeah. So okay. So I will kick off in terms of thoughts on the show, right? Um. As far as it being a true holiday special, right? In the world of Star Wars. This is the best by a long shot, right? There was a scene much, but yeah, this to me is what the original one could have been, right? That being said, it does rely a lot on references, which of course is something that you would expect from a Lego animated show, right? And I actually thought that the references were quite clever for the most part, right? But what I would just say as a whole is that it's fine. It's an entertaining enough show. It doesn't take up too much of your time. I mean, it runs a mere 45 minutes. You can kind of watch it and then just kind of forget about it afterwards. But for the time that I watched it, I had fun. I laughed not as much as I expected, but I laughed at some of the jokes and whatnot. You know what I mean? Some of the references came out of nowhere from other words. I was just like, all right, you're doing these slapstick stuff, okay, right? Um, what I do appreciate was how they were just able to draw so heavily from all the Star Wars movies, not just the
Mm-hmm.
new prequel series, but like the stuff from before, right? And just hit you one quick joke after the next, right?
Right.
Not all of the jokes land, unfortunately, but I mean, I didn't mind given the nature of it. But what I really appreciated the most was, it told a story, right? Unlike the old film, it told a Christmassy enough story whilst staying true to the Star
Right.
Wars universe. So in other
Right.
words, it plays out like a Star Wars adventure, but at its heart, it has a nice message, for Christmas, right? So
Right.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't reinvent the wheel or anything like that. I mean, it's not the best Christmas special you'll ever see, but in terms of Lego and Star Wars, this was fine. I enjoyed it for what it is. Not the best thing ever, but it was fine. Cece, any thoughts on this show here?
I like because like my main thing with it was like I don't have I did not like growing up because like I've been told by a lot of people that Legos games and movies have always been on point. I have not had the opportunity. I mean, I obviously have seen the more recent like the Lego movie and the Lego Batman movie, but I growing up I didn't really get to play like the Lego games and like the Lego Star Wars games and everything. But I've
Right.
been told that the brand of irreverent humor is definitely particularly on brand for the Lego Star Wars franchise,
Right.
which I love. Like it's what I was hinting at earlier. Like as much as I love Star Wars and all of its glory and I love how meticulously they preserve the mythology, it does lend itself well to being made fun of because of how serious it takes itself.
Right.
And I feel like the
True,
Lego
true, true.
and it's similar to Batman, which is why Lego Batman was one of my favorite comedies of that year because
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
it's such an irreverent but also loving take on Batman. And I get similar vibes from this. It's and there's a level of sentimentality that I don't mind for my Christmas entertainment. And so in that regard, like I have no objections. Not all the voice acting is the greatest for me. Although mad shout out to Matt Sloan, who voices Vader. He's been
Ah, oh,
he's
his
one
voice was great. That was
well,
great. That was actually.
he kind of has made a name for himself as like um the guy who voices Darth Vader when James Earl Jones is unavailable. Like he's voiced
Right.
Vader in like the Force Unleashed video games, in all the Lego Star Wars content where Vader is required. He had this hilarious series on YouTube that he co-developed and co-wrote called Chad Vader Day
I
Shift Man,
remember Chad
Right.
Vader.
Yeah.
and he shines in that. And what I love about him is that his take on Vader, like he nails the voice, but he does such a great job with like turning Vader into like this lovable doofus, right? Like it's just this like you laugh at it's like one of my favorite jokes. I'm just like one joke I will spoil in this whole thing, but my favorite gag in all this is when Rey briefly time travels to Return of the Jedi, and Palpatine is there like, yes, I love. So Death Star 2 will be operational, and Vader makes a noise, and he's like, "What?
Yeah.
Don't you like? What don't you like? What? You have a comment, Vader?" He's like, "Just that Death Star 2 feels a little derivative. What do you what do you think then? How about
the Star Killer?
How about
Yeah.
Star Killer base?"
Yeah.
Like and then
Like,
there's the
what
bit,
do you mean the Star Killer?
Star Killer, so stupid, dumbest idea I've ever heard. And like I think like Matt Sloan's funniest bit, like he gets great bits throughout this whole bit. Like there's a bit where like Vader tries to get Palpatine a world, like galaxy's best emperor mug for Life Day. There's like a bit where he turns out he's wearing a sweater. The best bit is when he meets himself from Empire Strikes Back, which is a comedic set piece. It gives me big the two Buzz Lightyears energy from Toy Story 2, really. Like there's like that there's that same like comedic playing off each other, like the same voice actor playing off himself, like back and forth in this great way. But so overall effective. Again, I'm not really going to rewatch this a ton. If I want more Matt Sloan, I'll probably go watch Chad Vader. For the most part, it lands pretty well. It is funny. It does have kind of that irreverent Star. Like there's so many little irreverent gags that make fun of all Star Wars, like new movies, old movies, the series, like all these great little moments that I find myself laughing at. It's also like just like having the absolute audacity to make those jokes with something as self-serious as Star Wars. It's very funny. But the overall plot is like definitely very Christmassy, Christmas mush, and I'm not really tripping over myself to come back. But
and to touch on the Christmas thing for a bit, you know, it's kind of, let's just say, cliche, you know, to have Yoda be the character to narrate this.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give it that whole Twas the Night Before Christmas kind of vibe, you know what I mean? Like I get, but it's like, you know, come on, this is Yoda, you know what I mean? Right. He's gonna do the whole broken up sentence thing, which he does, right? But anyway, Tracy, thoughts on Star Wars holiday, the Lego Star Wars holiday special?
Yes, the only holiday special that has ever existed.
Yes.
Officially, even though there's a little Easter egg where when Chewie's family show up, they're making the same sound effects as they do in the original holiday special.
Yes, I noticed that too.
CC, I have to tell you, you got me really excited about Chad Vader because I have not watched Chad Vader or cared in terms of like remembered Chad Vader in years. But just okay, so that's a whole scene for me. Here's my thing. I really liked the Lego Star Wars special. My problem is that, and I use the word problem loosely, is that I realized that I got a little bit angry about something about the movies coming out of watching the Lego special, and I'll just kind of tie it like this. There's a commentator that I follow online, and he was saying afterwards, his take is like, this is the sequel to. He was joking about the idea of it being the sequel to Rian Johnson's one, which for some reason
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi, because it was just
the one that I still defend to my dying breath. I will defend.
I loved The Last Jedi. I admit that I'm in the minority because I saw, in terms of the Rise of Skywalker, I saw Rise of Skywalker twice in the cinema, and I was like, I like this. The first time I saw it, I had my it was like 50-50, but then I saw it again, and I like it, and so that's me. But my problem is, because I always go back to Force Awakens, that scene where Finn falls down and the blood is on his helmet, and they do this thing where he stands up and he's looking around, and there's an interaction between him and Kylo and so most of us who saw that kind of had an inkling that maybe something was up with Finn. Then at the end of Rise of Skywalker, we find out that Finn is actually Force sensitive, which could have been brought in a little bit I felt like could have been brought in or elaborated a bit from, like maybe if they actually had a plan for the sequels. So when, you know, so when, and I love the sequels. I will rewatch it like forever. But so when Lego Star Wars came out, and it's the idea of her training him because he has the Force. He is Force sensitive in the same way how Obi-Wan trained Luke. I was like, why is this not in the movie? Why did they take like a little while and just do something with Finn? Because clearly something is up with this boy. It would have added a whole. And I went on a one-to-one basically monologue to myself about why this should have been involved in the actual movies and not
Right.
just the Lego special. But the special of itself was really fun for me to watch. I kind of liked the idea of the time travel construct, because in terms of Rebels, it was like, oh, okay, we've seen this before, because I think they did it like with a holocron and some other randomness inside.
Right.
So for me, that was like, okay, that was pretty cool to deal with. It was kind of hilarious in terms of voice wise. I felt like the actress, because I didn't really check the credits, but the actress who voiced um, Ray was more closer to Daisy Ridley. And so
I
for me,
know, right? She
so for,
was, she was.
yeah,
To a point where I was even wondering, is this Daisy though?
this was
Because
my
she
hilarity.
nailing the British accent down. Well, sorry, Daisy's British voice down
Yeah.
perfect though.
So
Yeah.
I was sitting on there saying, well, this is kind of hilarious if it really was Daisy, and then maybe John and Isaac have said like, nah, we done with this, so we ain't even coming back. But it wasn't. I know it wasn't the voices, but it was so Ray that it almost was a little bit jarring dealing with the comedy version of Finn's voice, and even like, okay, like I like how they played with Poe, but it was still a little bit jarring for me. But overall, I really enjoyed the special. I feel like I may do a Christmas morning rewatch once I've like digested food and all that good stuff. I liked it. I liked it. So that was it. But I really did get angry at the idea of there are things that were done in here that I felt might have made a stronger movie. So why couldn't you have done that there? And that was just my only gripe with it.
Right, right. Understood. Ricardo, your thoughts on the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special?
Yeah, I had a little bit of fun with this. It's not for me. It clearly skews young and
Yeah.
does that again. If you remember, if you're reminiscent of the Lego Star Wars games, which I remember playing a couple of back when Xbox 360 was out. It's that same style of humor. It's for kids, but it's the whole baby's first send up, right? It's made fun. It's the idea is that, oh well, here we can make fun of this thing and I understand humor for the first time, kind of stuff, right? That's what it is. It makes fun of that. So guys like me who post Robot Chicken and post Family Guy Blue Harvest stuff. It alright. It's not that not that great for guys like me. But if you I can imagine if you're a younger Star Wars fan, you would enjoy it. I dug it for what it was. It made all the jokes that you expect them to make, right? All the jokes they make fun of, all these little side gags and throwaway lines making fun of, especially Rise of Skywalker. They make fun of that. All of the new trilogy stuff they made fun of. As Tracy was complaining about, it's like, yeah, they just kind of just made fun of all these little dumb jokes in it, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, it was short and sweet. They had a simple and straightforward idea and message, and then they did what they did. Nothing blew my mind because again, I'm way too old for this and it's not for me. But I'd imagine if you're like some kind of 11 or 12-year-old Star Wars fan, they do enough for it to make it work. It's funny and it works. It's charming enough. I dug it for what it was. Not too much to talk about other than that.
Not really.
Right.
Hey,
Well,
I will say,
go on,
Disney.
sorry.
I will say, Disney, if you are listening to this humble podcast, let somebody make a Lego Star Wars movie with the same irreverence as like the Lego Batman movie. Like, come on,
please.
the time
get
is
them more
right.
money.
Please.
Yeah.
The time is right.
Yeah, it could have used.
Well, here's the
It
thing,
could have used a
though.
larger budget. I felt.
Well, the problem is with those Lego movies that we've gotten thus far. I haven't seen the Ninjaku one, but I believe the others were from Warner Brothers, right? For Warner Animation.
Yeah,
So I don't know if
Right.
Lucasfilm or Disney could get away with, having a Lego movie of
like
their own.
they clearly
I
have
don't know.
some cooperation because they make new Lego Star Wars content, and it's on Disney Plus.
Yes.
It's definitely very complicated. I'm just saying, whoever needs to meet in important rooms and sign documents, let's make it happen.
But so just rating wise, just to get out of the way, I'm feeling like a decent 3.5 out of 5, man. This is not gonna be a go-to Christmas special. This is not gonna be a show that I'm gonna be watching every single Christmas season. Maybe, who knows? Like you, Tracy, I may see myself watching this over for Christmas Day. Maybe like a little break between a Christmas Story and Pixar's Soul, which I'm gonna be watching on Christmas Day for sure, right? I'm gonna be watching that, right? Also, before I forget, points for the Avengers Endgame reference. I was like, I see what y'all did there. That was cool. We reached the MCU reach, right? But yeah, this is clearly for the fans, and I mean by now, we could talk about this for the last show here. So imagine that if you have no clue or any context as to what Star Wars is about, or who the characters are, what happened in the new trilogy or whatnot, you'll be completely lost. But by now, Star Wars is such this cultural and this worldwide phenomenon that by now it's like, I know who these characters are. You may not know you might not know Kylo Ren, you might not know Rey, but you do know who Darth Vader is. You know who Luke Skywalker is, right? At least you know who Yoda is, right? So yeah, I mean, it's for the fans. They're gonna have a blast with this. They're gonna love the references and whatnot, and it has that same irreverent, goofy, but very well told, I should say, well delivered, I should say, Lego humor. So if you're a fan of all those, give it a look, man. It may be a go-to Christmas special in the future. Kind of unlike a certain holiday special. CC, last thoughts and rating on the Lego one.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like a 3 out of 5. Like it's good. I definitely agree that it definitely skews younger. It's funny. It's definitely it skews younger, but I feel like if you are an adult watching, like putting this on for your kids, you're not going to be bored, especially if you're also a Star Wars fan. Like it's not stupid kid content.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not like Don Bluth kid content, but it's not stupid kid content, kind of. Right.
Yeah, I wasn't bored with it. I was following it. I was like, all right, okay, they're doing what to do, and because it wasn't too long, I didn't mind any of it. In that sense, they run through the beats pretty quickly, so that's why I tolerated it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, Ricardo, what's your rating for this special?
Yeah, like around a 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10 type, rating around there, 6.5 is around that. It's nothing. Not again. It does its job. That it serves a purpose, a very specific purpose. It does that reasonably well.
Right. And Tracy, last thoughts and rating on the special.
Well, I'm gonna go with you and give it like a 3.5 out of 5 for me. So like I said, I would probably, well, not probably, I will be rewatching it Christmas morning, that kind of vibe. One of the things that I am grateful for in terms of the special and that whole scene in general is that I woke up, the morning of Life Day, and I was actually excited to see something Star Wars. So, I mean, like I put in all kind of new Star Wars music on my phone and all that kind of stuff. So prepping my brain for that and then going back and sitting down and watching the Lego special, that was fun. So yeah, but 3.5 out of 5 for me, I think.
Right. Now I'm wondering now if this is going to be a go-to Life Day watch for Star Wars heads now.
Unless they give
like
something
they're gonna
else.
watch the old and the new special together.
Lord.
I don't know. But we'll see. I personally wouldn't go through that torture, but somebody else will.
If they decide to do a different special every year, we will have the same situation because you'll have whatever's the new special, you'll have this Lego special, and obviously you'll have to go back and watch that which shall not be named. And it will probably keep, going on like that.
Yeah. And then who knows? Life Day will actually be a thing, like how May the 4th is, So
yeah.
Well,
Life Day will be a thing, I guess.
I know that Life Day has low key been a thing in the Star Wars fandom. Like, what was the old Star Wars RPG game? Like the big MRPG, like the one that predated like Old Republic?
No, I don't understand.
You don't want to talk, all right?
That's a really good question, you know.
Yeah. Well, like I know that like
Ricardo, you're the game enthusiast. Do you
No,
know?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
But like that game, I know way back in the day, they used to do this thing where like on life days they would like the designers of the game did used to like kind of celebrate Life Day with different like little fun things for fans and things like that, and it was separate from Christmas. Like I feel like it's low key been a part of the fandom for forever, and I feel like this is one of the reasons why I do think that like if ever there was a time to release the original holiday special, now was it, because like we are getting to a point where we are kind of we're like acknowledging this exists now, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.